Are you guys ready to go back there? Thank you. We will call the Williams County Board of County Commissioners meeting for June 17th, 2025 to order. Beth, will you call roll?
Barry?
Here.
Steve?
Here.
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 We have a quorum. We'll proceed. Please rise for the pledge. Okay, consent agenda. What are the wishes?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Discussion? Roll call.
Barry?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item D is public comment. This is the spot if you are not currently on the agenda somewhere and you have a comment for the board. Now's the time. I don't think I see any, so we'll move on to the department heads. Number one's community engagement. Lindsay.
Can you see my Band-Aids? Good morning. I have two items for you, but actually I have a bonus item. In the 2025 budget for community engagement, the commission had approved $200,000 as part of our annual Star Fund cost share partnership contribution. That's where on programs that, or projects that apply through the City of Wilson Star Fund, we can cost share on that interest buy-down portion. We received our first application for consideration this year for a manufacturing entity in the county. And so just seeking a motion / your approval to confirm that you are still interested in that $200,000 contribution for this year.
How well did it go last year? Did we use it all? Or?
We did. We used about 194,000. Not everything gets paid out immediately because it's really a Bank of North Dakota program. So it gets, paid out when they go to the financing. But it was almost used in its entirety last year for this general project portion.
Very nice. That's great news. What are the wishes of the board? Any questions or any motion?
I'd move to approve and authorize the chairman to sign.
It's already been.
I'd just move to approve it then.
Very nice. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Steve?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thanks. Okay, so then my real first item are two suggested program amendments for the Builder Buyer program that you approved in April. As I had mentioned, kind of when we had gone through this process, it's a learning experience for all of us. I certainly do not intend to come every meeting with changes to the program. These are just a little bit more significant ones that I think would evoke some effectiveness and some more efficiency in the program itself. The first one being in terms of eligible expenses on the builder assistance portion. Right now, though, as the program is written, I guess I'll do connection assistance first to not confuse you on your sheet here. The first one is a procedural amendment for the connection assistance. Currently, the way the program is written, a paid in full building permit is required to apply for the connection assistance, which is paying for those fees to hook up to water, sewer, etc. Just based on some timing chicken and egg things, the suggested amendment would be that just a building permit application is required to apply for our part. And then we just hold those funds until they get their full building permit. And because we paid directly to the utility company, the funds wouldn't be dispersed until they were ready to do that effectively anyway. And then the programmatic amendment would be that eligibility one for type of expenses eligible for the builder assistance. Currently, the way the program is written, funding for sidewalks is only eligible if it's part of a special assessment district. In talking with several builders, And now knowing exactly where folks are looking to build and working on doing that, having sidewalks as an eligible expense is an impactful thing for them in terms of it costs dollars. And it doesn't necessarily add a whole lot of value to the house in general, but again, costs money, and a lot of neighborhoods or municipalities require that sidewalk lineage. It's a public resource, it's a community resource, everyone can use sidewalks. And adding an extra layer of bureaucracy of special assessments may not really make sense in this case. And if we don't have to make people do more things that don't necessarily make sense, and especially at the price point that they are, if we want the dollars to be effective, I would suggest being able to just include that as part of our normal lineage funding eligibility. So to recap, procedural, building permit application for the connection assistance, and that sidewalks are funded, could be funded regardless of special assessments or builder assistance.
Thank you. To me, it sounds like it makes it easier. And if we can make it easier, don't worry about, if you got to bring it back every meeting for a few to get it straight, I don't have any problem with that. So thanks for doing that. Is there any questions for Lindsay, or where do we want to go?
Makes a ton of sense. I would move to approve the amendments as presented.
Is there a second? Second. Moved and second. Any discussion? Discussion. Roll call, please.
Corey,
Yes. Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And then the last item is our first builder assistance application from Denali Building Group for 8 properties up in Harvest Hills in the city of Williston, seeking funding for the water and sewer lineage, as well as sidewalks. And so in discussion with the Housing Review Committee, which we had talked about these changes as well, the Incentive Review Committee, the funding for sidewalks was then again contingent upon this programmatic change, as there wasn't an intention to do the special assessment district. So seeking $17,600 for water and sewer, $14,000 for sidewalks to support the construction of those properties. Question?
How many total houses are they gonna do?
They're definitely planning to do more. So
Awesome. Exciting. I would move to approve.
And I would second that with,
Authorizing the chairman to sign.
and I'd second that, and also just recognize again the efforts of Lindsay and her team to make this a reality. It's obvious that it's sparked some interest and moving in the right direction for our county. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, right? Okay. Any discussion?
Just one discussion item, and that's that I heard from the city building department that they received over 50 applications for building permits in 1 week, and they typically only get about 30. So I don't know if this program's directly impactful, but it's fair to assume it is, I think.
I've
So,
talked to a lot of excited people.
yeah. So that's super positive.
Great. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, Mike Smith, Emergency Management.
Morning. Make sure you can hear this, not that my voice needs any help. So it's my turn to give you a little bit of insight on what my department does and what emergency management does. Of course, my boss here, well, you guys know that I could talk all day, so I was told I was limited. You know, and I get excited about this.
I know, but that's good. Limited, but not too much.
Okay. So a little bit about emergency management. We plan for, respond to, recover from, and mitigate natural hazards and man-made natural hazards and things like that. So in doing that, we have to, we work with not only our emergency response partners and our and our government partners, but we also work with the industry here in Williams County. We are one of the top 3 Tier 2 counties in the state, and that's meaning we have one of the largest amount of hazardous materials and things like that in our county that we need to pay attention to. So we plan with those. We work with the oil companies. We work with all the our government agencies. I coordinate mutual aid agreements with 5 counties here in Northwest North Dakota and 3 counties in Montana. The ones in Montana are kind of they're still a work in progress because we've got that state border, but all the emergency response agencies in Williams County, Divide County, Montreal County, McKenzie County, and Burke County, and Richland, Roosevelt, and Sheridan counties in Montana. And we regularly work with all of those people. We've had call outs down in Richland County and over in Sheridan and Roosevelt County. So I work with that. We help in our county plan special events. A lot of them are here in Williston, like Band Day, Choke Cherry Festival. We help coordinate and support the Parade of Lights in November. We just had a Boy Scout camporee that I was asked to help coordinate with because it was a search and rescue camporee. So had 100 Boy Scouts there. And when we do these special events, it allows us to use our equipment and put it out there like we would use it in a disaster, and kind of practice with it, exercise with it, and use these planned special events to do things in a calm environment and make sure we've got everything that we need and how to operate. Also recently I support other fire, or my department supports other fire departments when they have big fires. We supported the sheriff's office during the standoff at Fort Union with our command post. We have a command post, getting them food, doing whatever needs to be done to support those agencies. And while they're focusing on their jobs, then we're behind the scenes helping them out. We do a lot of hazmat response. We go out to spills, well pad fires. I do follow-ups on spills and make sure that they're getting cleaned up properly, whether it be a spill that is reported or to the state or one that needs to be reported to the state. We just make sure that, we're a liaison between the state and our county to make sure that the responsible parties are taking care of those things. We also provide training for all of our responders throughout, not just our county, but we have trainings where we have people from Montana, South Dakota, the east side of our state, whether it's myself teaching those classes or bringing in instructors to teach the classes, but being able to prepare our responders for, doing their jobs. A lot of our responders don't get the opportunity outside our county to, we're here in Northwest North Dakota, and most of the training is usually in Minot or in Bismarck or something. So we try to bring it to them and give them the opportunities to train. Not only do we train with our emergency responders, but our corporate partners, BNSF, all of the oil companies, we go and train with them, and they come and train with us. So we're meeting each other on neutral ground before something happens. There is that, that relationship there. Instead of meeting somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning when a well pad's on fire, and just knowing the people we can call, that, there's the proper channels or the formal channels that we go through, but also having those people's numbers in our phone that, while one person is making the formal request or doing the formal thing, one of us is on the phone saying, hey, we got this, you might want to get started before your people call you, just to increase the response times and things. Also, it's been a privilege to teach at the high school, doing some stuff there with the EMT and firefighter class for, you know, EMS and hazmat stuff, or ICS and hazmat stuff. Kind of cool to get to teach the kids and, you know, get them going.
Quick
Um,
question, Mike, with that, are you getting students from other cities other than just Williston in that EMT, the CTE training at the high school?
I think the last 2 years, or this last two classes, was everybody's from Williston, but they are, you know, pushing that out to everybody and bringing that in. I mean, I think there was 14 EMT students, my daughter being one of them, and then there was 5 firefighter students, but I think that's increased this year. So we did a exercise at the end of school there, where everybody got to see what they get to do, and, you know, cutting cars apart and some of that excitement. So yeah, they're hoping to expand that program a lot. So then after we train and we got our planning and stuff, then I coordinate exercises throughout the county, or drills as you might know them. So we practice. We put in a scenario and we bring everybody in and see if it works, see what needs improvement, change our tactics, and, you know, do improvement. So this year, we have a full-scale exercise with the North Dakota National Guard Civil Support Team. They'll be here for a whole week in August. Not only do we exercise with them, it's when the Army comes and, you know, make sure that, you know, they grade them on and their response. So they're, again, building the partnerships with the National Guard. This year's our triannual full-scale exercise at the airport. So we'll have a big exercise there. The last couple exercises, we had over 200 participants in those exercises, and just that brings in not only Williston Fire, Emergency Management, the sheriff, but that brings in Tioga and Ray and Granora EMS. You know, practicing those things, and I think we had Bainville EMS last year, practicing things that, you know, we need to be prepared for. We don't want to think about it. We don't want it to happen, but we want our emergency responders to be ready to go for it. And lastly, just a few things, the events that we've kind of supported, talked a little bit. Of course, in October, we had the wildland fires, where we had over 35 agencies that we coordinated with. The Parade of Lights, we assisted in some things and provided equipment to the paddlefish, to the Parks Department. Band Day, we had the camporee. This last weekend, we were at Fort Union supporting that event. We had our command post there and our medical trailer, because there again, it's kind of far away from anything. So just being there, coordinating that kind of stuff. Next week we have the fair. We'll be there with our command post and working with the fire department and just making sure everything's going on. And then we have National Night Out. I've been asked by the North Dakota Firefighters Association to help host a Northwest regional mini fire school this year for a weekend, the first weekend in October, using some of the training equipment that we have, and, you know, bringing everybody here and in our region and doing some training for them. I do a lot of hazmat training because we have a lot of hazmat stuff. So that's about it in a nutshell.
Anybody got any questions for Mike? So what do you do all day? You just sit around?
Yeah.
I do have one that I would like to point out, and you talk about relationships, and this is me patting Mike on the back. He did bring the chopper in for the camporee. Tell him about the chopper that you had come in, and I mean, I went out and it was really cool.
So it was, so our camporee was search and rescue. So I've worked with the North Dakota National Guard since COVID, and called the colonel up and said, "Hey, could we get a Lakota helicopter here for our kids?" And of course, there were some stipulations like some, some recruiting things and all that. But in the end, we were able to get a Lakota helicopter here. It's their version of a medical evacuation helicopter. One of our medics at the fire department was actually the medic that flew in. They let the kids crawl all over it, let them load patients in the back of the helicopter while it was running. And I've done that in my career, and that's pretty adrenaline rush when you're loading this helicopter and the blades are turning. So it was a cool weekend, except for the mosquitoes.
Well, and the only reason I bring that up is I don't know the colonel to call, so thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. I'm sure the kids really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, we got some pretty good feedback from the kids. So
No questions?
Well, not only that, but thanks for your cross the state line work too. I mean, that other counties aren't quite as fortunate as us to have a mic or somebody as trained, but he was pivotal basically in getting Bainville's radios programmed, or helped us get them programmed to our frequencies over here, so that if we have mutual aid between the two states, they can contact each other. So that's pretty big deal. We appreciate that.
yeah, with our 800 system and their VHF system, we had to find a bridge, and being able to keep our old VHS system that we used forever in play. Now our dispatch center can patch their channel, our old channels and our new channels together. We found that out during the wildland fires, that we had some issues, but we're working through it.
Mr. Smith, thank you for doing what you do. It's obvious that you have a passion for it, and we hope we don't have to use you very much.
Well, if we do, we're ready. So
Mike, where was that camp at? Just,
Fort Buford.
oh, it was, okay. All right, that's tough. That's right on the border, so from a vector control perspective. That's important to know.
Yeah, it was a good weekend though. I mean, we had 125 scouts, and we were able to set up. So what I showed them is we brought most of our equipment down and set up an area that we would do, say, if we had to go to a tornado response in Granora or somewhere where we had to set up, resources because there wasn't anything. So, and a lot of the oil companies and the corner lines and people helped us out with feeding them and all that good stuff. So everybody had a good time. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, by the way, thank you guys for letting me do what I do. I mean, it takes you guys as well, so I appreciate it.
Okay, let's see here. We need Karen. Are we doing all right so far? I just wanted to ask you, make sure we're good. Thank you. Had to give you a chance to say that. I think we're at Helen. No, I lied. We're not. We got Dennis. Sorry, Dennis.
Okay, we have Northwest Rural Water has a parallel at Caraville and a parallel on County 9 south of 1804 that they would like to put in. I had put them at 100 feet. They were having troubles with 100 feet, so they're going to work with us where they can, even on the bores in these different areas, getting water to Caraville and then, of course, south of 1804 to those areas down there. So they said they're more than happy to work with us. Where they can, they can. The parallels, some are bore and some are open cut along the ditch or in your right of way. Easement, I should say easement. There's two of them here.
I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second. And then Dennis, could you also explain for the noob, when you say parallel, does that mean parallel with the road?
Parallel with the road and they go in in our easement, plus they have to have landowner permission, because the landowner still owns to the center of the road. We just have an easement there. Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Discussion. Roll call, please.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, and lastly, tonight at 6 o'clock, Audi County Highway is the SS4A public input meeting. So if anybody would like to come, and that's the consultant is looking at safety issues throughout the whole county on our roads, curves, signage, blind intersections, turn lanes. We got a grant 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, federal grant for a consultant to review the whole county routes. And they're working on it now. 6 to 8.
Could you denote SS because that has a negative connotation as well?
Well,
Safety,
there's good input, and then there's some that can't move the road because it goes straight up, you
Yeah.
know, things. But I shouldn't say can't.
yeah.
Just takes money.
Speaking of money, how's the paving projects going?
17A is completed paving. They're putting the rumble strips in now. Red Mike Golf Course, 17A. They're putting the rumble strips in now, striping hopefully Thursday, Friday. Signage is, as we speak, going up here and there. And I would say pretty well roughed in by middle of next week. Or not roughed in, completed by the middle of next week. Looks good.
It's
Looks
awesome.
good.
I've been on it. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's a little different going from the golf course entrance into the park, but we'll correct that. It's okay. It's fine.
Okay, any other questions for Dennis? Thank you. Now we'll go to Helen.
Good morning. All right, I have an item or two to add also, but we'll go on the list. You have them to start. So the position report, I do have an addition. We received a resignation from a corrections officer yesterday. So I'd like your permission to fill that position, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moving to second, any discussion? Roll call.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
motion carried.
On the back side of your sheet, we have a board position that's been open for quite a while, the Special Assessment Commission. And this is the board that would meet if there are special assessments that are going to be special assessment districts, I guess, created by the county or townships. The county would use this commission, and townships can elect to use ours or create their own. And so there isn't any work that we know of today for this group, but we need to have it in place so that if there's a need for it, we're ready. And so it was Kelly Everson who had been serving for a long time. And now it is Jake Jake. So I need you to appoint him, please.
Can I get a motion?
I would make a motion for Jacob Manuel to serve a term of 4/1/2025 through 3/31/2020 or 2031.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, we're in the process of purchasing a building so that we can vacate the old airport hangar, which will allow the city to transfer that property to the park district. There's a whole bunch of moving pieces there. In that purchase, you've already given permission for the chairman to sign everything related to the purchase, but we do need to engage in the normal landowner contract with Northwest Rural Water in order to have water at the building we're purchasing. And it was the legal opinion that this was a separate kind of thing, and we needed a specific permission for the chairman to sign this contract. So I'm seeking your a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, in the last legislative session, there was a change made to the public safety plan associated with the Public Employees Retirement System. It allows for dispatchers to be enrolled in the public safety plan instead of what's called the main plan. There are some advantages. One of the primary is that they can retire a little earlier. And so they would join our sheriff's department, corrections officers, and licensed peace officers in that public safety plan. But the law says that each board needs to have a resolution, or we think there's some lack of clarity in the law, but we need permission for the chairman to sign this resolution. And then we have a form that PERS is requiring us to fill out in order for you all to authorize us to implement this change. So the change is our dispatchers will be able to be in the public safety plan instead of the main plan. And they'll transfer, I think August 1st is the date in which we can make that change. Karen, would you like them to use the words for the motion? The pursuant to House? Okay. Perfect.
What are the wishes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
One second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the lengthy motion? No, thank you. You're leaving. No other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bo,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Corey.
Yes, motion carried.
And then just a procedural change that I decided I should bring to the board. We have a remote work policy in which we have these extensive sort of hoops and hurdles if we're going to have someone work remotely, because we think it's important that government workers are working right here locally. We had a circumstance happen. We have someone who's working less than 10 hours a week, actually, to help cover as she moved away and we had somebody new. This is at County Highway and some administrative work. And so she was going to cover temporarily while we got the new person trained in. And it's worked so well to have a little extra coverage. If the two folks that work in the office have other things going on or are out, or even on the weekends and nights, because this relates to overload permits, it's worked really nice to have some backup. And we've come up with, I think, an arrangement that's going to be great for everyone, where she would continue to work that probably less than 10 hours a week, but do this coverage work. But she would be doing that from the other side of the state, where she's relocated to care for her mother. So we have a policy that says the board must approve someone who's doing work for us remotely. And so even though I think the intent of this policy was someone full-time, I just didn't feel like I could make the decision not to bring it forward. And so the policy says that the board has the authority, or the board has the final authority to designate a work site for specific people/positions. And so I would like your permission to designate this one part-time, or not even part-time, position to have a work site designation as remote, so that we can continue to have this working arrangement going on. So it's an administrative assistant position at County Highway. with a remote worksite designation.
Okay, is there any questions? What are the wishes?
I would move to approve this proposal by Helen.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call.
Chris?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
That's all I have for you, unless you have anything for me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
We